the way it currently stands, forced labor, slavery takes precedence over rehabilitation and public safety.
Oh, by the way, while the Biden administration gives reparations to everyone but free people, look at the billions he has run over to Ukraine.
We don't have black grocery stores because if you think about it now, just to get in that supply chain, it's almost unheard of.
They don't want the truth to get out. Okay? I don't want to know what my family did or what all these people did and all this stuff like that. Okay? You read that 500-page report.
There's this thing called white superiority and black inferiority. That mindset allows all of the behaviors that we've seen across generations, allows for the construction of these policies and practices and systems and structures that continue to oppress us. This is not a handout. This is a debt that is owed.
You know, Allensworth was like the internet of his time in 1904, 1905.
The total black population in California is about 2.6 million. And then of that, the descendants compose about 2.2 million of that. So California, with a multi-billion-dollar surplus, can absolutely afford to satisfy the international terms for reparations, beginning with compensation.
Any financial obstacle that exists that impedes the success of increasing financial prosperity needs to be dealt with and eliminated.
No matter where we've been, no matter what part of this fight we've been in, we've been harmed, and we've had harm done to us specifically.
When I got to Los Angeles, this was some of the worst segregation I'd ever seen. And remember, I'm telling you, I'm from Mississippi.
Because as you can see, I'm giving you broken history right now, you know? But I had to give it to you guys today. I said, no, I got to show them this because it's so precious and nobody really knows about it.
Black people don't have that kind of luxury. Our historically black communities have been redistricted multiple times.
Now listen, if you can't handle the TR roof, don't tune in.
Welcome everyone. It's the Black Friday edition in the building.
Back for Black Friday. Hope everybody had a happy Freedmen's Giving Day.
Yep. So let's get into it. Why is it called Black Friday? How the biggest shopping holiday of the year got its name. Many people believe we call the day after Thanksgiving Black Friday because stores would go from operating at a loss or being in the red to earning a profit or being in the black. While that's technically true, the origins of the term are a bit darker. The term Black Friday was first coined in 1869 when two inventors, Jay Gould and Jim Fisk, caused a market crash by driving up the price of gold. As a result, the stock market dropped 20%, foreign trade stopped, and farmers witnessed a huge drop in corn and wheat value. Much later, in Philadelphia during the late 1950s and early 1960s, the term was resurrected and used to refer to the day between Thanksgiving and the Army-Navy game. The event would summon large crowds of tourists and shoppers requiring extra hours put in by law enforcement to moderate the traffic. It wouldn't be until the late 1980s that the term became synonymous with shopping. Retailers reinvented the Black Friday name to reflect the backstory of how accountants used different color ink, red for negative earnings and black for positive earnings. To denote a company's profitability, Black Friday became the day when stores finally turned a profit. Of course, the name stuck, and since then, Black Friday has evolved into a season-long event that spawned more shopping holidays like Small Business Saturday and Cyber Monday.
So sounds like Black Friday saved the day.
As usual.
Right. So something positive associated with Black. That's a good thing. Okay, Kanye West Shalom tweet gets response from Israel. Kanye West's Hebrew greeting he used to announce his return to Twitter has gotten a response from the country of Israel. Ye tweeted out Shalom when Elon Musk restored his Twitter account on Sunday, November 20th, following his suspension from numerous social media sites in October related to anti-Semitic hate speech. Israel responded to Ye's tweet, writing that as a country, it would very much like to be excluded from this narrative. After a contentious few weeks for the Yeezy mogul, following a series of disparaging comments made about Jewish people, George Floyd, and white supremacy on Fox News, Drinks Champs, and other outlets, he apologized for his hurtful comments in an October sit-down with Piers Morgan. Quote, I will say I'm sorry for the people that I hurt with DEFCON, end quote. He said, quote, I feel like I caused hurt and confusion, and I'm sorry for the families of the people that had nothing to do with the trauma that I'd been through. And I use my platform where you say hurt people, and I was hurt. So, I mean, the Shalom is a greeting that means peace, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Shalom. Shalom is a greeting that means peace.
Okay, so when I saw this headline, I thought that the country of Israel was gonna respond in kind and say peace or something, but they said basically keep our name out your mouth.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't come back and say assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, I thought that it was gonna be a friendly exchange, but turns out that it was more of a hostile exchange. Okay.
Amazon of Africa, Jumia, restructures after ousting co-founders. Acting chief hunts for profits after continent's first ever tech unicorn plunges 70% in value since New York listing. Jumia, the e-commerce group often dubbed the Amazon of Africa, is undergoing a heavy restructuring following the ousting of its co-chief executives and its share price falling 60% over the past year. The reorganization is the latest effort by Jumia to reach profitability, having listed on the New York Stock Exchange 3 years ago to become the continent's first tech unicorn, or a company valued at more than $1 billion. Since then, the Pan-African Group's share price has fallen more than 70% over doubts about the sustainability of its business model. Earlier this month, founders and co-chief executives Jeremy Hodara and Saka Poignonic were removed and a new management board appointed. Our growth has correlated with increased spending on marketing and deterioration of economics, acting chief executive Francis Dufay told the Financial Times. We want to improve our fundamentals to grow the business and at the same time significantly improve our economics and reduce our EBIT loss. Dufay, a former McKinsey consultant who has been at Jumia since 2014, said the company would focus on its e-commerce offerings, discontinue non-performing areas of the business, and reduce its marketing efforts. The retrenchment comes after it scaled back on expansion in 2019, exiting its business in Cameroon, Rwanda, Tanzania. The company will shut down Jumia Prime, a subscription program similar to Amazon Prime service, introduced 3 years ago that allowed customers to receive free deliveries.
So the Amazon of Africa.
That's what they're calling it, the Amazon of Africa.
Have you done any shopping at this marketplace?
I have not. I'd be interested to see those who've actually know about this service, and actually who I think this was on the New York Stock Exchange. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. But if anybody actually did invest in this company, I'd be interested to see their point of view.
Yeah, let us know.
Should we I know we had some videos on the Kanye thing. Should we play that, or is that?
Oh yeah, we want to see what else Kanye has been. He's been busy over this holiday. So let's take a look.
All right, so let's do that.
So what I did is I just bought every piece of Balenciaga that I ever seen. And you start writing the A24 on everything.
Right.
These pieces. And all these pieces we're gonna be selling for $20 each.
Okay.
Just to make sure that the people, get the best thing available.
Right.
All right. So that's positive. Kanye is going to be selling some high-end pieces that he's branded with his Ye 24, which he recently released that video we were just seeing to coincide with his announcement for his Ye 24 presidential run. So that's coming up, it appears. And, $20 high-end gear. Sign me up. Where can I get some Ye 24?
Ye 24 for $20.
For $20 holla. $20 holla. So good for Ye. I really do hope that he starts his own production and manufacturing and can keep everything contained. I think that his gear would be a huge seller on the market, according to what people are saying. They can't wait either.
There you go.
All right, and what do we have here? A recent tweet from a Phyllis Lewis on Twitter. In Washington, D.C., a white woman repeatedly calls her Uber driver a N and a slave after he tells her to get out of his face.
Yeah, that was nuts, man. All right, let's play this video.
Yeah, should nobody have to put up with this.
Man, this is nuts. All right, here we go.
Your phone was not plugged in. Your phone was not plugged in. You're the shit. Take your medication. I'm your boss. I'm your boss. I'm your boss. You're a little piece of shit.
What the f is wrong with you?
No, because my phone's gonna die. You won't listen. My phone's gonna die. My phone's gonna die. And try me one more time. You are
Yeah, Karen going hammy. Yeah, that was nuts. You're on mute if you want to have your 2 cents.
Yeah, I just said that was a hate crime. Something should definitely be done about it. People are out there, working these gig economy jobs, and then to, just run across these people who are blatantly racist and, unhinged. That's pretty scary.
Yeah, that was to say the least, really unfortunate. If y'all want to see the uncut, explicit version, there's a link where y'all can go to check it out. But yeah, if you want to waste your time with that. But yeah, it was just, man, when I saw that, I was just like, oh, this is, what do they call it? We're post-racial society now.
Right. But she's got all kinds of racial epithets to spew, and the entitlement of calling herself his boss. I mean, do you agree with that assessment?
That was just nuts, man. I mean, what kind of audacity?
I mean,
does
but
he
is
have?
she his boss or is Uber his boss? Who's his boss here?
Well, I mean, look, technically, if we're being technical, no, she's not his boss. That's number one. Number two, Uber's not his boss. That's number two, because he's an independent, or whoever drives for Uber is an independent contractor. So no, he's his own boss.
All right.
Or she is her own boss. So let's just keep it real.
Are they own boss? They own boss. All right, got it.
Biden extends student loan payment pause as debt relief plan remains on hold. The federal student loan payment moratorium will be extended no later than June 30th, while the courts consider legal challenges, the president said. The Biden administration announced Tuesday that it would extend the payment pause on federal student loans as President Joe Biden's debt cancellation plans remains blocked in court. The payment pause, which was previously set to expire in January, will be extended until June 30th, or until the litigation is resolved, whichever comes first. If the litigation has not been resolved by June 30th, payments will resume 60 days after that.
So student loan on pause. Let's see this next story. Maybe we can get some relief here. To pay millions, California to pay millions in overdue utility bills for struggling families. Some Californians are getting help from the state to help pay their overdue utility bills. Governor Gavin Newsom announced Tuesday that the state would release $647 million in funding to help more than 1.4 million households pay overdue energy bill balances accrued between March 4th, 2020 and December 31st, 2021. The money is supposed to provide economic relief to families hit hardest by the COVID-19 pandemic. California has made unprecedented commitments to help vulnerable households stay afloat as the cost of living increases, Newsom said in a statement. By providing utility relief that will eliminate over 1.4 million Californians' overdue energy bills, we're helping families who continue to struggle with higher costs. The news release said about 33 utility companies applied for the funds on behalf of 1.4 million households. Residents should check their energy bill statements to see if the credit was applied, the news release said. The companies must apply the credit to the accounts within 60 days of receiving the money. The state has given more than $1.6 billion in financial assistance through the California Arreange Payment Program, or CAPP, a state program that helps eligible residents pay overdue energy bills. So anybody out there, we know it's getting colder. It sounds like this is for, there's a time period associated with this relief funding that ended in December 2021, but it's getting colder. A lot of people are running the heat more. If you're, getting in trouble with some of your utilities, I would suggest calling them directly and seeing if they have been giving funding to help people having hardships with utility.
All right. Looks like a Berkeley County School Board fire superintendent names replacement. The Berkeley County School Board voted Tuesday night to part ways with its superintendent 16 months after he started. Deion Jackson was fired after a 6-3 vote. Board members Yvonne Bradley, Crystal Wigfall, and David Barrow voted against his termination. Just in the first few minutes of the meeting, the board decided in a 6-2 vote to remove David Barrow as the board chair and replace him with Mac McQuillan. From there, a lot of big changes were made. I would like to make the motion to terminate the employment of Mr. Deion Jackson, the superintendent of Berkeley County School District, effective immediately. Do we have a second? McQuillan said. Barrow, who previously served as chairman of the school board and represents District 5, called the board's move to fire him a political witch hunt. I do not believe that the reason why I think this board is getting ready to terminate the superintendent. I do not think it is unconstitutional. That is the contract. And in fact, that it is a political witch hunt on their part, Barrow said. Bradley was also avidly against this decision. It is unbelievable that on the first night of a new board that such things will come up, Bradley said. Unbelievable, unbelievable.
Wow, did it even say what he did to get terminated, or just because?
Yeah, I'd have to go double check, and if anybody else knows the exact reasons why he was terminated.
Yeah, I've been seeing this story, but no reasons have jumped out at me as to why he's being terminated.
Yeah, so I don't know if anybody else has further information. Let us know. But
yeah, let us know. Mm-hmm. All right. Fired MSNBC host Tiffany Cross hires Gabrielle Union's powerhouse lawyer to take on network after accusations she racked up $100K on luxury hotel expenses. Ex-MSNBC host Tiffany Cross has hired dynamic attorney Brian Friedman to represent her in her fight with the network, RadarOnline.com has learned. As RadarOnline.com previously reported earlier this month, the network decided to oust Cross unexpectedly, and both she and her staff were abruptly shown the door. Many Cross supporters argued that MSNBC has been pressured by conservative mouthpieces who criticized the host. A source told Variety that the network and Cross had issues with what she chose to talk about on her weekend program. This week, sources came forward to claim Cross planned to go out in a blaze and take down the network and its boss, Rashida Jones. Sources told the New York Post that the anchor had been calling friends in the media in the days before her firing. Quote, she made calls saying, "I'm going out in a blaze and I'm taking down the network and going after Rashida," a source told the New York Post while paraphrasing what Cross said. An insider also accused Cross of racking up $100,000 in expenses for her stays at luxury hotels on MSNBC's dime. The outlet pointed to trips Cross took to Los Angeles and the Super Bowl. A source told the New York Post that Cross stayed at the Beverly Wilshire on Rodeo Drive. She's staying at a hotel NBC's execs don't stay at, the source said. She mistook working in television news for being a celebrity, the source added. She was making north of $200,000 and she acted like she was making $5 million. Now sources told Page 6 that Cross has hired Friedman to take on MSNBC. The powerhouse attorney previously helped Gabrielle Union take on NBC in her battle over alleged discrimination during her time on America's Got Talent.
You go. I mean, do what you need to do. I mean, if she feels like she was unjustly terminated, then lawyer up.
Yeah, it looks like she lawyered up, so we will have to keep an eye on this case and see if she's, justified in this litigation.
Yeah, well, at least one thing, she hired a person with the last name of Friedman, so that's
positive.
That's a step in the right direction.
Right, and it looks like this person was successful in helping Gabrielle Union settle a case. I remember when all that was going on at the America's Got Talent. So sounds like this attorney knows their stuff.
Well, speaking of people who might need an attorney, Page removed from Reparations Board. The City Council on Monday unanimously approved a request to remove Don Page from the One High Point Commission. The action, which came without the vote of Councilman Victor Jones, who was absent, was based on a recommendation from the selection committee that appointed the commissioners in May. The group met Monday afternoon to hear a request from representatives of the High Point NAACP branch that Page be removed because of a pattern of behavior that did not accurately represent the commission and prevented the work of the commission from being done efficiently, said City Managing Director Jerron Hollis. Page has been a controversial figure on the commission, which is studying slavery reparations for Black residents. She was arrested for disrupting a council meeting last month and has been a strong critic of Commission Chairman Joe Alston and of the overall direction and pace of the group's work. She said Monday night that she's proud of the work she did on the commission, in particular her research into lineage-based reparations. It was not surprised by council's action to remove her because of her clashes with city and NAACP representatives. I think it's indicative of the lack of integrity in the process, Page said. My conscience is clear. I feel like I have done nothing but my duty since I arrived because of my love for my community and wanting to see them finally have an opportunity not only to have their story told and acknowledged, but to reverse policies that have been put in place by the city and state with restorative policies to repair Black Americans. The selection committee made up of Hollis, Councilman Wesley Hudson, City Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer Jelani Biggs, and Bernita Sims, Elma Hairston, and Brad Lilly, representing the NAACP branch, voted unanimously to recommend Page's removal. Hollis and Sims made the case to the selection committee for Page's removal. He said the Reparations Board is structured in such a way that its members serve at the pleasure of the council, which doesn't have to give a reason for removing a member.
That sounds very familiar. To what they were trying to do with the California Reparations Task Force out here with AB 2296 was to include that cause where they could just remove task force members at will. And good thing that was vetoed by Governor Gavin Newsom.
Shout out to Governor Gavin Newsom and all the advocates and everybody else for doing their due diligence to make that happen.
Right, and that's unfortunate with what happened with Dawn. I mean, I know she's passionate about this work and, just steadfast on lineage-based reparations. So, I hope they'll be able to continue the work and, keep some kind of integrity in doing this reparations work.
Yeah, I think one more thing before we move on to the next one. What's really important though for this reparations board out of everything, I believe this is in North Carolina, is that they really strongly support lineage-based reparations, right?
Yeah.
For those that have been harmed, right? And if they aren't doing that, then that's not considered, repairing the group that has been harmed,
Right. And that's why we need people who, are 10 tones down on this lineage reparation on these commissions. And like I said, this clause, makes people easy to remove, just like they were trying to do here in California. But we just have to keep our eye on that to make sure that we have proper lineage-based representation on these boards and commissions that are popping up all over the country, really.
Yep.
All right. Also popping up all over the country, nearly 2,000 Californians will get up to $1,200 a month through new basic income program. Nearly 2,000 Californians could receive monthly cash payments of $600 to $1,200 as part of the nation's first state-funded guaranteed basic income program, the state's Social Services Department announced Monday. The department intends to award more than $25.5 million in grant funding to 7 pilot programs across the state, including ones to be managed by Inland Southern California, United Way, the San Francisco Human Services Agency, and the McKinleyville Community Collaborative in Humboldt County. Approximately 1,975 Californians who are pregnant or aging out of foster care will receive the no strings attached payments for a period of 12 to 18 months. The department prioritized programs that would help residents during these pivotal life transitions. I'm incredibly proud to be the first state government to do this, said Michael Tubbs, former mayor of Stockton, who now serves as a special advisor on economic mobility and opportunity to Governor Gavin Newsom. We have a long way to go, but we are closer. Legislators unanimously approved the state-funded program last July in a strong show of bipartisan support, the Associated Press reported. Quote, I think other states will be watching California very closely and following suit, end quote, said Natalie Foster, co-founder of the Economic Security Project, an organization committed to funding and studying guaranteed income programs. And I'd like to hear from anybody who has received or knows anybody who has received any of this UBI funding. Anybody, Yamoya?
Nope. I know I haven't. I'm sure you haven't either.
No, I have not.
Yeah, shout out to Michael Tubbs. Yeah, you don't have to go back. You can go to the next one.
But yeah, shout out to Michael Tubbs. He did his thing, ushering that program into Stockton. So now we see it's taken off across California, and it does look like other places in the country are picking up UBI initiatives as well.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe we should reach out to him and see if he can actually come onto the platform and, give his experience.
Yeah, because this information, it just really doesn't trickle down to us. By the time we hear about some of this stuff, it's already, snatched up, already all snatched up.
Yeah, that's true. All right, an FTX customer who lost $750,000 during its collapse has filed a lawsuit against the Golden State Warriors, which had FTX as its official cryptocurrency platform. An FTX customer who says he lost $750,000 after the crypto exchange went bankrupt has filed a lawsuit against the NBA's Golden State Warriors, accusing the team of fraudulently promoting the firm. Elliot Lam, a Canadian who lives in Hong Kong, filed the proposed class action lawsuit in San Francisco against Sam Bankman-Fried, Caroline Ellison, and the reigning NBA champions. The lawsuit, which Insider has seen, seeks $5 million in damages for non-U.S. customers, adding that thousands, if not millions, of customers internationally have been impacted by the collapse of FTX, which the suit claims perpetrated fraud and deceit at a scale rarely seen. Reuters first reported the lawsuit Monday. The Warriors are also defending a lawsuit in Miami filed by American FTX customers. FTX filed for bankruptcy on November 11th, having previously been worth $32 billion. The company has up to 1 million creditors and a lack of oversight to the extent that it didn't have an accounting department. Lamb's lawsuit says the defendants falsely represented FTX as a viable and safe way to investigate in crypto. It also alleges that the company sold unregistered securities through yield-bearing accounts, which gave interest in cryptocurrencies. The lawsuit alleges that FTX used, quote, A-list celebrities and mass branding campaigns, end quote, in order to drive unwitting investors and consumers into a Ponzi-like scheme. The Warriors were instrumental in this, it adds, because as a successful NBA team, it has unprecedented reach internationally and exposed FTX's marketing to millions of consumers. The lawsuit accuses the Warriors of violations of California's false advertising and unfair competition laws. When contacted by Insider, the Warriors declined to comment, saying, "Per organizational policy, we do not comment on ongoing legal matters." The Warrior named FTX its official cryptocurrency platform and NFT marketplace last December in a first-of-its-kind partnership, which also saw FTX's logo printed on the Warriors' home court. CNBC reported that this deal was worth $10 million before the Warriors put it on pause last week. In the announcement, FTX's U.S. President Brett Harrison said that its NFT platform will provide a leading, safe, and secure venue for the Warriors' international fan base to access exclusive collectibles from the franchise. The team's star point guard Stephen Curry, as well as other celebrities, are also under fire for endorsing the company and join the Warriors as defendants in the Miami lawsuit.
I mean, it sounds like there needs to be some accountability. I mean, all this money coming up missing.
Oh, well, you know how that one goes.
Okay.
Coming up missing. It's like, where's the accountability?
He needs to be in jail. And maybe it's this guy here on the screen. Remains to be seen.
Yep.
Okay, California Citizens Complaint Act of 1997. All state agencies that have internet websites are required to implement this act. And let's see. This was posted sometime this week. So let's see what's going on, what the updates are. Chapter 5.1 of Division 1 of Title 2 of the Government Code provides the Citizens Complaint Act of 1997. Government Code Section 8330 provides the title of the act and requires all state agencies that have internet websites to implement this act in a manner that is consistent with the statewide strategy for electronic commerce as established by the Department of Information Technology. Government Code Section 8331 requires state agencies to make available on the internet, unless otherwise authorized by the Department of Information Technology, a plain language form through which individuals can register complaints or comments related to the performance of that agency. The agency is required to provide instructions on filing the complaint electronically or on the manner in which to complete the mail the complaint form to the state agency or both, consistent with whatever method the agency establishes for the filing of complaints. State agencies making a complaint form available on the internet are also required to advise individuals calling the state agency to lodge a complaint, include on the internet the location at which this information may be accessed in the telephone directory in order that citizens will be aware that they may contact the state agency via the internet or by telephone. In addition, public libraries, to the extent permitted through donations and other means, may provide internet access to their patrons and advertise that they provide internet access. So it sounds like if you have a grievance against the state agency, they should be making it easier and the process more transparent in order for you to be able to lodge a complaint. And it looks like this act is from 1997, but there wasn't a whole lot of internet access in 1997. So it sounds like they're just moving this complaint process over to the internet now that we're living in a digital age.
All right. About Face, why Newsom relented, released $1 billion despite lackluster local homeless plans. 2 weeks after withholding $1 billion in homelessness funding over lackluster local plans, Governor Gavin Newsom announced Friday that most cities and counties would get the funds as early as next week anyway, as long as the next round they commit to more aggressive plans to reduce street homelessness. But it's been a whiplash-inducing couple of weeks, triggered by a funding process that frustrated both the governor and the locals. Newsom dissed local applicants for seeming too complacent about a dire California problem, while the applicants retorted that the Newsom administration sent conflicting signals and that in any case, state lawmakers had inadvertently given them a financial motive to lowball their goals. More than 100 local mayors and county officials gathered virtually and in person in a sleek downtown Sacramento government building Friday afternoon to broadly discuss how to better tackle the state's most pernicious crisis. It was nice to hear their progress, and it was nice to hear their recognition that we have to get to another level, Newsom told reporters following the over 2-hour-long private meeting. It was a quick reversal some local leaders and advocates saw as a political stunt. The episode gave everyone a chance to air their grievances, but landed on no specific targets, while briefly risking the continuity of services for people experiencing homelessness. If you ask me what emerged from the meeting, I don't know. I did not hear any specific policy changes, said Sam Liccardo, mayor of San Jose. But he added, nobody's going to criticize the state or the governor at a time when it's critical to get resources to bring people out of the cold. Lives depend on this. Other local leaders said they welcome the prodding. Sometimes you have to provoke, said Darrell Steinberg, mayor of Sacramento, and then gather around a table like we did today and actually talk about what it's going to take to provide a further jolt to this problem. The governor sent shockwaves through the state 2 weeks ago, just days before Election Day, when he summarily rejected every local homeless action plan. On the line, nearly $1 billion in homelessness funding. The plans altogether promise to reduce visible street homelessness by 2% between 2020 and 2024, or 2,000 fewer people statewide, which Newsom had called simply unacceptable. His move triggered chaos among many of the 13 largest cities, 58 counties, and 44 homeless service providers who went through the process. Many of them thought they had been approved after workshopping the plans with Newsom's own homelessness agency, only to learn of the rejection in mass. But local governments didn't have much of an incentive to shoot for the stars in their plans, either because of the way the governor and legislature wrote the grant. In the name of accountability, they tied nearly a fifth of the $1 billion to local governments, meeting their own unsheltered targets, with more people falling into homelessness than they can catch. Many felt ambition might set them up for failure.
Wow, that's mediocre thinking.
It's very interesting. You know, as people who do live here in California, I mean, the homelessness, it's really off the chain right now, and it's really unfortunate. You know, we can point the finger blame game, but the bottom line is there are people currently living out on the streets, and it's really despicable when you think that California, being the 5th largest economy in the world, has this problem, and this is in many cities across, especially the larger cities, for sure. I'm not saying that there isn't, you know, homelessness, especially people living out on the streets, like literally in like their tents, like these encampments out on the street throughout California.
Yeah, I mean, in Sacramento is catching right up with some of these larger cities. The last week we read an article saying that Sacramento had surpassed San Francisco in homelessness. So, you know, Mayor Steinberg is quoted in this article here. And he's really one that needs to take some ambitious action. He has a lot of nerve. And it just seems like throwing all this money at the problem does not seem to be solving it, is what concerns me. I just hope the funding is being allocated properly. They're being good stewards of that dollar, but I have my doubts.
All right.
Speaking of doubts, California inflation stimulus didn't get your payment. It's on the way. So if you have doubts about getting your inflation stimulus payment, AOL Banking is here to let you know that it's on the way. Sparked by state surpluses and growing state revenues, many U.S. states have passed tax relief programs to provide financial aid to residents since federal pandemic checks were discontinued in 2021. In California, Governor Gavin Newsom, through the State of California Franchise Tax Board, FTB, began sending out middle-class tax refunds up to $1,050 to approximately 23 million eligible residents on October 7th. The 18 million total payments, which equal $9.5 billion, represent the largest relief program of its kind in California state history. In a press release issued the day before the first MCTR checks were dispatched, Newsom said, "We know it's expensive right now, and California is putting money back into your pockets to help. We're sending out refunds worth over $1,000 to help families pay for everything from groceries to gas." However, many anxious residents are wondering when they will receive their MCTR payments. Speaking to Cal Matters, Franchise Tax Board spokesperson Andrew LePage explained that payment coordination has to be thought out and treated judiciously. Per the Orange County Register, the Franchise Tax Board said that as of November 7th, it still needed to distribute 18 million payments between then and mid-January 2023. So if you haven't received your refund yet, it's on the way. An updated schedule is posted on the FTB site, with payments issue dates dependent upon recipients' last names and whether a resident previously received a Golden State Stimulus 1 and 2 check or not. I don't think I got a stimulus check 1 or 2.
Or 3 or 4.
Or 3 or 4. So I don't know what's going on with it. Like I said, this stuff never seems to trickle down to me.
Yep. All right. So speaking of California, right here in the good old city of Sacramento, the city of trees. As corporations dominate Sacramento's rental market, opposition by realtors and landlords caused demise of the Homes for Families bill. A post-mortem of how one of the most anticipated housing bills in California was killed in the state legislature this year. A drive through Sacramento reveals thousands surviving in tents under freeways, on top of sidewalks, and along the American River and its various creeks and sloughs. Since 2019, the county's homeless population grew by 67%, according to the last official survey, and that jarring rise came in the aftermath of private equity groups buying up vast amounts of the area's housing stock. Sacramento has become tagged by tenant groups as a land of corporate landlords, many of which are shrouded behind LLCs or limited liability corporations, as their holdings complicate both housing and shelter options for the community. According to housing advocates, large corporations own too many single-family homes and rental buildings in the Sacramento region, robbing homebuyers and mom-and-pop investors of the opportunities to build wealth, and contributing to broader housing affordability challenges that are causing people to land on the streets. Last year, Assemblymember Mike Gibson set out to bring financial accountability and transparency demands to the issue of corporate landlords in California. He proposed Assembly Bill 1199, or the Homes for Families bill, would have put an excess tax on multi-million-dollar corporate landlords and use the revenue to fund rental assistance and home ownership programs. Gibson's team had estimated that the bill could bring in $1 billion annual for those efforts. While there was major enthusiasm from housing advocates when Gibson announced AB 1199 in February 2021, this year the fate of that legislation ended in a way tenants groups were dreading. It died in committee. That has real consequences for workable solutions around the housing crisis and for keeping it from getting worse. The Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment, one of the state's largest tenants groups, confirmed that it's aware of no major bills at the moment that would channel significant funds to rental assistance programs in the wake of AB 1199's demise. ACCE Director of Communications, Anya Svanyo, stressed that given the aftershocks of the pandemic, spiking inflation, and a possible recession on the horizon, that needs to change fast. One of our biggest concerns is the estimated 100,000 tenants who are still waiting for rental assistance from the pandemic, even though that the program ended over 8 months ago. Svano said, in addition to those who never received their assistance, we have thousands of people who we believe had their applications wrongfully denied. We're really hoping to work with potential authors on new bills for more rental assistance and tenant relief. We'll see. These 10 landlords own and operate 184,000 units statewide and have secured $191 billion in cash on hand. I'm going to repeat that. They have secured $191 billion in cash on hand. Loans, cash, and other funds from investors, banks, and financial firms to purchase homes and smaller companies active in the market. The report detailed. Research by the authors indicates that many of these same companies profited from the 2008 financial crisis by buying up real estate at rock bottom prices while the nation's mortgage system was melting down. This report shows that our communities have been during crisis after crisis in this country. Wealthy, white billionaires and multimillionaires profiting from our pain. Co-author Sarah Michaelbus wrote.
So the bill didn't make it out of committee, and basically it was just going to tax these billionaire corrupt corporate landlords at a higher rate. I don't see why anybody would have a problem with that. Well, for one, you know what? These corrupt corporate landlords, I just think that there needs to be policy that corporations cannot own properties. There's no need for it.
I totally agree. I mean, they should write that in the bill.
Yeah, we need to get that in the bill, that they don't even need to be able to own property. There's just like no need for it.
No need at all.
Right. And they're creating this homeless problem. And then the leaders, then we have our legislators voting down bills. And then we have our leaders who act like they don't know how everybody is becoming homeless. But then all you have to do is point to these policies and practices, and it will show you, what contributing to the homeless crisis.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and this is just my opinion, that, I mean, when you have an influx of people coming into your state, be they legal or illegal,
right,
coming into the state, and then you have, scenarios and situations like this where corporations are just buying up all these properties and then locking out, the average person looking to either buy property, you can say residential or commercial, right? And locking them out. Well, this is what you get.
Yeah, I mean, and it shouldn't surprise anybody is what I'm saying. They're playing stupid in our face. This should not surprise anybody.
Yeah.
All right. Death note from Walmart shooter Andre being released by police. Local authorities have released a death note from the alleged gunman in the deadly Walmart shooting in Chesapeake, Virginia on Tuesday night, providing more insight into the subject's potential motives and state of mind prior to the tragedy. 6 people were killed and others were injured during the deadly shooting on Tuesday, which Chesapeake Mayor Rick West, later described as senseless violence that devastated the town. Authorities have said that the suspected shooter died as well from what they believe was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Andre Bing, 31, who worked at the store as a manager, was identified as the alleged gunman. The city of Chesapeake tweeted a screenshot on Friday of a note that it said detectives found when conducting a forensic analysis of the suspect's phone that had been recovered at the scene of the shooting. In the message titled Death Note at the top, the shooting suspect wrote, "Sorry, God, I have failed you," and then alleges that he was harassed by idiots with low intelligence and lack of wisdom. The suspect also states that his true intent was never to murder anyone and wish that I could have saved everyone from myself. So senseless indeed. Ashe to the victims. I mean, it's just terrifying that, these are people that you work with every day, see every day, and no telling what's going on in their mind.
Yeah, man. Ashe, this is so unfortunate. Really. Chris Brown claims AMAs canceled his Michael Jackson tribute. The loyal singer claims the team behind Sunday's American Music Awards canceled his tribute to Michael Jackson at the last minute. The Look at Me Now rapper took to Instagram Saturday to air his complaints, posting a 7-minute rehearsal clip that shows his crew of female dancers practicing some serious moves. Starting with the track Under the Influence, the performance transitions to Jackson's Beat It, where Brown and his dancers can be seen busting a move to the mega hit. They even included some of Jackson's iconic choreography in their rendition of other hits such as Wanna Be Starting Something, Billie Jean, and Thriller. The 40th anniversary of the Thriller album is this month. Rest for ABC Network, which is airing the AMA Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, did not immediately respond to a post request for comment. You serious? Brown, fashioned in a green silk getup, captioned his rehearsal clip among the face palm emoji. Would have been the AMA performance, but they canceled me for reasons unknown, the 33-year-old artist continued in his comments. Brown has been linked to Jackson in the past, but insists the comparisons are cap. There is no competing with him, Brown said in an interview with Big Boy. Hell no. I got shrines of this man hanging up in my house. Hell no. I ain't better than Michael Jackson.
At least he realized.
Word.
No.
Yeah, MJ, man, that dude is the GOAT.
Homage to the ancestor, king of pop, always will be, ain't no one else. I'm glad Chris Brown at least realizes that. And I don't know, does anybody even watch the AMAs anymore?
I know, does anybody watch any of these award shows anymore? Like, yo.
Right, and if I were to tune in, it would be for, an iconic performance such as this that was, canceled without reasons unknown, as far as I know. All right, so as we know, Kyrie Irving is back in the game, back playing basketball.
I think we did this last week, didn't
We
we?
did do this. So this is just a little recap on the fact that he was going to be, his first game back would be the Memphis Grizzlies at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. So that did happen. I believe we have a video from that. Let's take a quick look.
All right.
So I think we get the point. He had some support pull up to the Barclays Center, to show their support. And there are some people that seem to take issue with that, namely the mainstream media. Let's roll that clip.
Group outside, 100, possibly more. They were wearing a shirt called Israel United in Christ. They're a group labeled as a hate group.
I think that's a conversation for another day. I'm just here to focus on the game.
Kyrie, but you've said this whole time that you didn't know what kind of what kind of voice you had. But if these are the people that are out here in your name, do you feel like that's a consequence of what you've done?
Again, I'm just here to focus on the game.
Kyrie, forgive me if you've been asked this already, but when you were suspended, there were a lot of players around the league, Jaylen Brown is one specifically, that didn't like the way your suspension was handled. I'm just curious if you ever thought about filing a grievance or exploring those avenues at all.
I got to leave that to my legal team and leave it to the warriors I have around me. I have some strong people, men and women around me that are going to do everything possible to make sure that I'm protected and my family's protected and we protect one another. So, I'm sure some things will be done in the future, but there's no timetable on that right now.
Hey, Kyrie, I know you said you just want to talk about the game, but this morning you talked about recognizing the platform you have, wanting to unify. You're being asked about things that are being said in your name in reaction to the movie you promoted. I'm curious, how do you go about deciding when's the time to use a platform and when's not, and when you decide you're going to react, and when you say someone's here to talk about basketball?
I would like to be on a platform where I could openly share how I feel without being harshly criticized or being labeled or dealing with, outside perceptions that have nothing to do with me. Again, I said this morning, I just want to.
Wow. So, as we stated last time, this anonymous source said that Kyrie had gone above and beyond in filling his obligations to get back in the game. But now that he comes back to the game, he gets this assault of anti-Semitic questioning. He ain't got nothing to do with those Hebrew Israelites showing up, and if he did, he said he wanted to focus on the game.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. He kept saying, look, I'm here to focus on the game, and they kept asking him questions.
Right. That's harassment.
It's definitely harassment. At the same time, Kyrie Irving, shout out to Kyrie Irving, but just don't even answer. Just keep it pushing. Just be like, I'm not answering the next question.
Well, that's what he did. And every single reporter that came up, one after another, they asked a different variation of the same question. He said that he wanted to focus on the game. Well, at what point do you just get up and walk out? But then I guess he'd be on the hook again.
Then he need to get up and just walk out. At some point, Kyrie just needs to be like, look, I'm not talking about this. So you can ask all the questions that you want to. I am not talking about this. And then keep it pushing. I don't know. I'm not Kyrie. I hope, Kyrie, does what he needs to do in his situation for himself and his family. But yeah, it's really
but at some point the media needs to back up. And he played again last night, apparently. We don't have a clip, but the line of questioning was about Thanksgiving. And people were like, he has said publicly before that he doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving. So why are they pressing this man on stuff that he said publicly? It's just like they're just, egging at him. Egging at him to make statements that he don't want to talk about.
Speaking of topics to talk about, so I know last week we did mention Les Robinson, ETN Media Group did have a chance to interview Mr. Les Robinson. So we just want to let the family we are still working on the interview, and we will be posting that wonderful discussion that we had with him and another brother here in Sacramento. It was a really good build. So hopefully we'll be getting that out to the family and to the community so y'all can review it and check it out.
I'm still looking forward to seeing that final cut. And speaking of looking forward to seeing stuff that unfortunately weren't able to see. Macy's parade viewers fighting for justice for corn kid Tariq after his botched appearance. Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade viewers are demanding justice for Tariq, the 7-year-old social media sensation known as Corn Kid, who appeared on the Green Giant Harvest in the Valley Float during Thursday's holiday tradition. The Brooklyn native made headlines for his enthusiasm towards corn, shared millions of times on social media, and quickly remixed into a viral song declaring how the vegetable has the juice. It's because of the little boy's adorable charm that parade viewers thought he didn't receive the spotlight he deserved on the float. Cameras quickly cut away to another musical performance after mentioning Tariq's presence at the parade, leading some viewers to tweet out their disappointment. Keep scrolling to see viewers' reactions and learn more about Tariq giving back this holiday season. So we have a tweet from an account, Faith in Mad's Future. I thought the Corn Kid was going to sing the corn song. I'm disappointed. And there were several other, tweets to the same pretty much effect. Giving back, the only thing better than eating green giant sweet corn is donating green giant sweet corn in true Thanksgiving fashion. So that's a tweet that they put out showcasing the Corn Kid right there. So he's wildly popular with audiences, and he couldn't get his shine during the Macy's Day Parade. And that's another thing. Does anybody even watch the parade anymore? Anybody watching that in the AMAs?
Good question, fam. Let us know if y'all still watching these award shows and these parade floats and stuff.
Yeah, the way they canceling all our, canceling the fam and not showing the fam. Maybe we need to just boycott it all.
Hey, I don't know, but it is Black Friday.
It is Black Friday.
I don't know what y'all is doing. I normally am not a big supporter of Black Friday, just going crazy. Especially during these holiday seasons, man. People just doing, the most. Trying to get out there, get these supposedly these deals, and trying to find the best discounts, and I don't know. People just doing what they're doing. So
yeah, I think I'm boycotting that as well. All this, mass consumerism around the holidays. I'm kind of over it.
Yeah, people really need to focus more on their families and friends, and do some inner reflecting on life, during this time, because it's time to do that. We're going from fall to winter, solstice. Things are supposed to be, going into this more cooling off period during this time, and it doesn't seem like things are cooling off in the world at all. People shooting each other and
it's crazy.
Getting canceled,
Right. That's why we do need to reflect and be thankful, just thankful to be given another day, really.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is in the news, Black Friday edition.
The way it currently stands, forced labor, slavery takes precedence over rehabilitation and public safety.
Oh, by the way, while the Biden administration gives reparations to everyone but freed people, look at the billions he has run over to Ukraine.
We don't have black grocery stores because if you think about it now, just to get in that supply chain, it's almost unheard of.
They don't want the truth to get out. Okay? I don't want to know what my family did or what all these people did and all this stuff like that. Okay? You read that 500-page report.
There's this thing called white superiority and black inferiority. That mindset allows all of the behaviors that we've seen across generations, allows for the construction of these policies and practices and systems and structures that continue to oppress us. This is not a handout. This is a debt that is owed.
Allensworth was like the internet of his time in 1904, 1905.
The total black population in California is about 2.6 million, and then of that, the descendants compose about 2.2 million of that. So California, with a multi-billion-dollar surplus, can absolutely afford to satisfy the international terms for reparations, beginning with compensation.
Any financial obstacle that exists that impedes the success of increasing financial prosperity needs to be dealt with and eliminated.
No matter where we've been, no matter what part of this fight we've been in, we've been harmed, and we had harm done to us specifically.
When I got to Los Angeles, this was some of the worst segregation I'd ever seen. And remember, I'm telling you, I'm from Mississippi.
Because as you can see, I'm giving you broken history right now, you know? But I had to give it to you guys today. I said, no, I got to show them this because it's so precious and nobody really knows about it.
Black people don't have that kind of luxury. Our historically black communities have been redistricted multiple times.
Now listen, if you can't handle the TR roof, don't tune in.